a big day for Brandon Perna. Big day. It's a joyous day. A holiday for one Brandon Perna.
I'm so happy I could cry, Tom.
Because oh, baby. We here.
Wish there.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is GPS. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are just removed from Super Bowl 59, in which the Philadelphia Eagles beat the ever-living piss out of the Kansas City Chiefs with a final score of 40-22. And if you didn't watch the game for whatever reason, it was not even that close. This was domination by the Philadelphia Eagles on all fronts, especially on the defensive line front. They absolutely destroyed the O-line of the Chiefs. It didn't do anything fancy. They didn't blitz. They didn't do nothing. They were getting lots of pressure, sacking Mahomes 6 times in that game. But this was a little bit unexpected in terms of just how not close this game was. And Philadelphia, they came in with a phenomenal game plan. Saquon Barkley was averaging like 2 to 3 yards a carry. He wasn't getting much. Jalen Hurts took over, and that defense just, God, so good. So good. And Brandon Perna, happy day.
Oh, my God. That game was far more lopsided than I thought it would be. I think than anybody thought it would be. Now, I did say the Eagles would win 33-23. I said that. And the reason I said that was I thought the only way Philly wins is if they get a decent lead and they can hold on to it late, right? Because the way we watch the Chiefs win all season is keep games close, and then when the game is on the line, they get on their phone. It has a direct line to hell. They call Satan himself and say, all right, this is the time for you to help us. And they pull out their devil magic and they're victorious. Whether that's week 1, Isaiah Likely's toe touching the boundary, blocking the Broncos, last-second field goal, going into overtime against, the Buccaneers. They figured out ways to win, and it's why we thought they were going to be, a three-peat champion. Like, okay, the Eagles are a very good team, but are the Eagles better than the Kansas City Chiefs' ability to figure out how to win games? Well, the Eagles went into this game with the approach of too big to rig, and they had one of the most dominant defensive performances up front that I've seen. And I watched the Broncos beat the Panthers in similar fashion by getting to Cam Newton. Getting a defensive touchdown early in that game. Cooper DeJean's pick 6 is when I was like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be a little optimistic about the rest of this game. And then Zach Bond picks off Mahomes in the red zone. You're like, oh, fuck, the Chiefs are going to lose. But I've been hurt by Kansas City so many times, Tom, that Adam called me when the Eagles were up 34-0, and I'm like, I don't know yet, Adam. I'm not willing to celebrate quite yet. So I think that's a testament to your success, Kansas City. Even when you were trailing 34-0, I was like, they might be able to figure it out, guys. There's still a chance. And shit. I mean, my Hall of Nick Sirianni to the Hall of Fame got one step closer, Tom. One step closer. And Sean McVay, before the game, said he's the most disrespected head coach in the league. I like that I was on that train early. But damn, and Jalen Hurts put the game on his shoulder, on his legs, because Kansas City got rid of the Eagles' biggest threat. Saquon was not effective. I was completely wrong about that. I thought no matter what the Chiefs do to scheme up against the Eagles' offensive line and Saquon, they're not going to slow him down. Maybe for a little bit, but they were perfect against Barkley. And Saquon won, Jalen Hurts won MVP because he carried the load the rest of the way. And he carried that load like a man.
It was, it's funny because like this was starting to be the sentiment after, like during the stream of like, oh, like the Chiefs, you know, you mentioned before that they're barely getting away with wins all season, blah, 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 blah. I want to be very clear just where I'm at. The Chiefs are a very good football team because nobody in the AFC beat them except for the Bills in the regular season, and you beat their backups.
Yeah, but we beat them like the Eagles beat them in the Super Bowl.
Not even close.
You are kicking their butt too.
Texans, who have a great pass rush, right? They were getting after Mahomes too, right? Yeah. They fell to him. The Bills, they fell to him too. And this game, walking into this, the Philadelphia Eagles legitimately dominated them. Whether it was left tackle, their offensive line could not block, very reminiscent of that Buccaneers Chiefs Super Bowl, where Mahomes was just constantly under pressure. Their offense could never get anything going. The first half, they had 3 carries for 3 yards. They had no run game to speak of. And Kareem Hunt's been that guy who gets, 3-4 yards a carry, just like bit by bit grinding you down. They couldn't even get there. And then throw in the turnovers, which both teams have been very careful with the ball. And when Jalen Hurts threw that first interception, I was like, oh man, this is a problem, right? Because the last time these two teams played in the Super Bowl, it was a Jalen Hurts fumble that got returned for a touchdown. And we were talking about turnovers and how clean these teams have been. But that Eagles defense did not allow an inch. They just allowed garbage time points at the very end. Yeah. They dominated that game. And you talk about Saquon, the Chiefs had to constantly account for him, right? So Spags not allowing a 100-yard rusher, that continues because even though Jalen Hurts was their leading rusher, the fact that then you had receivers getting open and Jalen Hurts was able to do plenty with what he was given. And ultimately it was belt to ass and they deserve a ton of credit. I don't want anyone coming out here being like, oh, well, the Chiefs weren't really that good. They're a fraudulent team. No, the Eagles deserve a ton of credit this morning. Sirianni deserves a ton of credit. Fangio deserves a ton of credit because they beat the piss out of the 2-time reigning defending champs. And that is difficult to do. And nobody has been able to do it in these playoffs. They weren't able to do it last year, the year before that. So the Eagles doing it, they joined the Buccaneers and knocking off the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They deserve all the credit.
Yeah, if you want to say the Chiefs were never very good and they're fraudulent, I support it. I think you should say that a little bit.
That's fair.
Because I think I don't think they're fraudulent. But I think, and it was really hard for me this season to draw the line of me being a fan and just not wanting the Chiefs to win versus what I felt like I was actually watching with Kansas City, which was a team that had a very solid defense. Their offense looked like a shell of its former self, that they were death by 1,000 cuts. And I didn't think they were that good. That's why I thought they would lose in the playoffs this year. I thought the Bills should have beat them. The Texans had a chance. So I think it felt like they weren't as good as their record, while also being as good as their record. And I know that's a dumb thing to say, but like watching them this year, and I was also trying to like determine if that was because the old Chiefs were so explosive on offense. Am I just not buying into that this is kind of their identity now? But I think like what we saw too in this game, outside of the dominance up front from the Eagles, sacking Mahomes 6 times, the Chiefs didn't have anybody step up in their offense as a dynamic playmaker until Xavier Worthy went off in garbage time, right? Like they had DeAndre Hopkins, he dropped a pass.
Yeah.
Kelsey was absent. Hollywood Brown, who had a nice early start against the Bills, didn't do anything. Oh, $100 donation.
Got a hundo, Perna.
Woo! And of course, now we know John Elway handed over the Lombardi to the Chiefs, but not before he placed a curse on it.
Johnny John John!
All of Deshaun. All of Deshaun. Yeah, I mean, The one.
Wait a second. Hold on. Let me address this real quick.
What you gotta do?
First of all, Sean can give me as much money as he wants, okay? Just like you're doing, okay? You guys are both wasting your money on me. Don't tell Sean how to spend his money. Don't tell him how to spend his money.
Sir.
It did go to a good cause. I have been putting that money into a charity that supports the Chiefs losing. So the money is going to a great cause.
I don't think that's accurate.
And I had to cancel the hotel I booked in Kansas City. So I was willing to go down there and do it. I was willing.
Wow, you're so brave.
I booked it. And luckily, the deadline to cancel was midnight last night, where I wouldn't get charged for the hotel room.
That's right.
So I was
Saving
able
that
to
money, baby.
cancel. Even if we didn't hit our sign-up goal, I was going to go to the parade because, like, you know what? That would make a really good video, watching me watch basically what I imagine hell would be like for myself. Just an endless parade of Chiefs victories. So thank you, Philly. You saved me. You probably robbed me of what would be my most popular video on YouTube, but that's okay. I didn't really want to make it.
True. Yeah. I think talking about and the fact that you had, like, I want to talk about the roster building that the Eagles did, because I've talked about this all season, that they needed to address secondary last year, right? They go out and they draft Mitchell, phenomenal all season, up for defensive rookie of the year. They go and draft DeJean. Deep breath, Tom. The Packers could have had him, but it's fine. They go and they draft him, right? Defensive rookie of the year, has a pick 6 in the Super Bowl. Zach Bond, they didn't draft, obviously, but like, he's an acquisition. Had a phenomenal year. I know they kicked the Packers' ass twice. He had a phenomenal game. And just to see the pieces that they have assembled over these years, and then getting Saquon, of course, putting it over the top, the guy who's been making that offense go. And talking about Scooter real quick, all love, of course, but Scooter was talking about this on Clickbait a couple weeks ago about, the Eagles, they're not really beating anybody in the AFC, blah, blah. And I was like, well, what about the Ravens? Because they beat the Ravens, right? And here, you just had a dominant defense punch Kansas City in the mouth. They talked to Travis Kelce. They talked to Mahomes afterwards, saying that they never played this badly this year, all of this year, and they just dominated the game. Like, this was just such a tour de force by the Eagles. They deserve to talk all their crap. They deserve to just let everybody know, because they just literally stopped a three-peat, which a lot of people, including myself, go, well, Philadelphia is better on paper. But as you and I, it's the Chiefs, right? You can't, even again, at halftime, when they're shutting them out, you're still like, well, it's the Chiefs. They can come back. They're a second half team regardless. Yeah. And still, the Eagles didn't even allow them to sniff a lead. Dude, it was a masterclass of a Super Bowl. And a lot of folks did, it reminded them of Seahawks Broncos from a few years back, because it was pretty much domination from the beginning.
Yeah, I think like I don't think the general public accepted that the Eagles were going to win until the third quarter.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the consensus was, this is just setting up for the Chiefs to have the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history.
Sure.
And if they would have done that, it would have gone down as the greatest Super Bowl victory by a team, because of the comeback and because of what it meant, in terms of historical, the three-peat and all that stuff. But Philadelphia just didn't allow it. They were so physically dominant up front, and it's perplexing to me that the Bills couldn't take advantage of Kansas City the same way, where the Chiefs' offensive line was an issue all season long. Their tackles were kind of a revolving door. They finally, it felt like they shored it up by kicking Tooney out to tackle, and like, okay, maybe they kind of found a cohesive version that's going to work for them. But when you've got Jalen Carter, you have Jordan Davis, those are two just really big bodies you got to account for. And then
Sweat had an incredible game.
Sweat was vicious off the edge. Nolan Smith was getting pressure. And who is Mitchell? What's Mitchell? Where's Mitchell at? Oh God, I gotta. He had a big game.
He had 3 solo tackles.
Milton Williams. I'm thinking of Milton Williams, who was dominant. I didn't even really know who the hell Milton Williams was, but he was. I think he had 2 sacks as well. It forced Mahomes to make uncharacteristic mistakes if you're looking at how he played this season.
Sure.
So the pressure was so bad that Mahomes threw 2 bad interceptions. They got a strip sack late, and it completely erased what was some bad officiating as well. Now, the Eagles got the first bad call, but then the Chiefs got disproportionately more bad calls against them. So that was the real superpower the Eagles had, was making the bad calls go against Kansas City, because the unnecessary roughness on McDuffie for jumping up and hitting Dallas Goedert, that was a weird call. And then another one because Bolton kind of hit Saquon Barkley. I was like, oh God. So,
because the first one was the OPI that went in the Chiefs' favor, and we were like, literally everyone was a collective here we go. It's going to be one of those. And then you had that bad call that was basically a makeup call, and I was like, oh boy. But yes, the officials, they weren't amazing, unfortunately. But again, I'm glad. I'm very, 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 very happy that the one thing we are not talking about today is the officiating.
Yeah.
It was bad, but even if every single one of those calls go in the Chiefs' favor, they still get their ass kicked.
Yeah. There's nothing could save them in this game.
No. So
not Satan nor the refs.
Nay. I think ultimately too, because here's the Chiefs, right? So the Chiefs are getting clowned today because there was a collective, oh, thank God, right? They're not going to 3P because a lot of folks thought it was inevitable. Chiefs fans said it was inevitable. There's still a ton to be proud of. Again, back-to-back Super Bowl champs is pretty insane. The fact that if you're a Chiefs fan and you're upset today, granted, you just lost the Super Bowl, to think that you're upset that you didn't win 3 Super Bowls in a row, that is, perspective is one hell of a drug. And again, I still think the Chiefs deserve a ton of credit because we talk about their offense, and it was a different style of offense this year, even with the offensive line woes that they had. And they still got the number 1 seed. They lost 1 game with their starters during the regular season, and they knocked off both teams that they played in the postseason again. So, man, I think the Chiefs, Xavier Worthy, you got a lot of hope that he is going to develop into a pretty damn good receiver. Of course, there was no Rashee Rice. We'll see what happens with that next year. But ultimately, the Eagles I want to make sure they get their due because they were so damn good. And I know a lot of folks are like, oh, it was a boring ass Super Bowl because it wasn't competitive. Seeing how dominant Philadelphia was, I was like, no, this is fun ass football. Yeah. Because especially in the trenches, they crushed it.
I enjoyed that Super Bowl thoroughly, start to finish. One of the more enjoyable Super Bowls I have experienced. Maybe top 6. You know what else is enjoyable, Tom?
You tell me.
Today's sponsor, Bird Dogs. Look, I got the quarter zip, just like the Manning bros, Tom.
You look beautiful.
Do I look like Peyton and Eli?
Yes. Is that what you want to hear?
Yes.
Then yes.
Yes, I do. Bird Dogs.
You just because the Eagles won?
What?
You did this because the Eagles won?
Well, what coincidence. We got a bird sponsor the day after the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Did we strategically plan that? Maybe.
Maybe hate birds, though, remember?
For it.
Last year you hated birds. This year you love birds.
Now I love them. Love the birds. Love it when it's a bird and a dog combined. All right, so Bird Dogs, they sent me some clothes, right?
Genetic splicing sounds ethically not great.
I got these real comfy quarter zips, but also dress pants that are comfortable and stretchy.
Are you wearing them now?
No, but check it out, Tom. I did a little fashion show for us.
Oh, God.
Hot guy. This is a hot guy doing the turn on the catwalk. I'm too sexy for this turn.
You're supposed to walk a little bit more, I think.
I was stuck on the turn, Tom. I was stuck on the turn. Carmi, help me.
There's Carmi.
Yeah, there's our house is always a disaster with her toys. Look at those pants, those blue stretchy pants.
So what is
these clothes? And Jess, when I opened the box, she was like, "Oh, did you order yourself like nice grown-up clothes?"
It looks like a Smurf Never mind. It's, oh wow, I can see the stretchiness.
Yeah, I don't like dress pants. These are the only dress pants I will ever wear.
Left.
Oh, this get to the left. That was Jess helping me with the catwalk.
No, I can't imagine. Who else would that be?
Yeah. Anyway, use our code GPS. Oh shoot, I forgot hold on, because you get a free hat if you use our code, and it's upstairs. I gotta show the hat, Tom. I gotta show the hat. Birddogs.com. Use code GPS. These clothes are the best.
Well, while I does that, Philadelphia. Have you seen the clips from Philadelphia? I mean, Philadelphia having themselves a time. They a lot of celebrating going on last night. That parade is gonna be interesting. Just stay safe, my Philadelphia friends. Just make sure. Oh, mustard face. Yeah, this is the time again. Oh, hold on.
There you go. The free hat over at Bird Dogs.
It's like a golf hat.
Yeah.
It's like one of those cool golf hats. I've never had a golf hat.
Yeah, these are clothes you can definitely golf in.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
You good?
Got my heart rate up. Just their website's hilarious.
Hell yeah.
Like, all their clothes got really funny names. Anyway, check them out. Rocking with us today. Here, I'll put this here so you can see the Bird Dogs.
It's a beautiful hat.
Anyway, I was working on that runway show. I forgot the hat.
Dude, so Jalen Hurts, real quick, this is a good point. Super Bowl MVP. I think you could have given it to Sweat. You could have given it to DeJean, right? But Hurts gets MVP. And holy crap, because the narrative about him all year, right? Not showing up for big games. He's the weak link, blah, 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 blah. And like you mentioned, the Chiefs did a really good job of stopping really anything Saquon Barkley could do. And so Jalen Hurts is like, okay, I got you. Shout out to his offensive line, for giving him some time. But Hurts, it's so well-deserved. And hopefully now, there's some more respect on his name, at least for, a few months until we forget about it in October. But dude, I'm so happy for Jalen Hurts, because to go into this game where you had the season that you have, everything is about Saquon Barkley. Everything talking about Jalen Hurts is usually not the most positive, though he had a great game with A.J. Brown in the NFC Championship game.
Jalen Hurts is like the Nick Sirianni of quarterbacks, Tom.
Going to be in the Hall of Fame?
Mm-hmm. Underappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. Jalen Hurts doesn't get enough respect for what he does. I agree. I think at some point I said, I wasn't sold on the Eagles because I didn't know if Hurts could, elevate them to be like a Super Bowl caliber team. I'm as guilty as anyone on that.
Mm-hmm.
But all postseason, solid. What he does is he just plays smart football. He had one bad throw in this game. He threw a pick in the red zone. I thought, okay, if the Chiefs turned that into a drive after Hurts' interception, then maybe it would have been a game. But no, there's still no chance. You throw a pick against the Chiefs in the red zone, and it absolutely didn't make your defense sweat at all.
No.
And this was probably Jalen Hurts played very well in the last Super Bowl against Kansas City, but just keeping the offense going and moving without anything from Barkley, it's hard to understate how impressive that is when your identity and how you won games so many times through the course of the season was because of being able to run the ball with Saquon. And instead, Jalen Hurts, 72 rushing yards, most rushing yards by a quarterback in a Super Bowl, surpassing Jalen Hurts, who had 70 the last time. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Hey, Ghost. Oh, yeah.
Handsome Ghost.
Hey, happy freaking fracking birthday. Enjoy that week.
Happy B-Day.
Let's go. It's birthday.
Johnny John John!
What was I going to say?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You're talking about Saquon Barkley being the identity of the Eagles.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts doing Jalen Hurts things.
The Eagles going for it on 4th and 2
Sure.
And completing that pass to, AJ Brown, which got negated because of he touched Trent McDuffie's stupid fucking face. It got negated because of that, but that was such like a big call early in the game. Like,
Sure.
It was 4th and 2. One, they don't do the tush push. They give Jalen the opportunity to make a play, and he connects. Like it's a dime. He drops to AJ Brown. Like that was a big moment on a play that didn't count. Like it's not going to be in the stat sheet. It's going to be forgotten. But that was a ballsy call and a great throw by Hurts early in that game, first drive. And you're like, oh, and then the devil magic, the call brought it back. You're like, oh God, this probably robbed the Eagles of at least 3 points. But again, didn't matter. Philly just overcame every minor hurdle that was thrown their way.
Well, it's also the anticipation that the game was going to be close, right? So we're just like, oh man, the fact that he threw an interception there and that's going to cost him 3 points. Also, speaking of 3 points, Elliott.
Oh, Jake? Low-key MVP, Jake Elliott.
Jake Elliott. It didn't matter if there was penalties pushing him back. That man was Mr. Automatic. After not having the best season, Jake Elliott deserves a ton of praise. But this is what I mean. Eagles special teams, they did it. Defense did it. They're off it. Like they showed up in every single phase of the game. They were so damn good. It was domination last night.
He had to re-kick 3 field goals because of the Eagles penalties. And he made all 3. He made all 6. He made all those field goals twice. Maybe during the season, some of Justin Tucker's bad mojo was rubbing off on, pun intended, Jake Elliott because his bird team. It was bird team. I think the bad mojo trickled down to Jake Elliott a little bit because the football gods were confused by the birds. That's what I'm going to say. And now that the other bird team was gone, Jake Elliott returned to form. It was great. And that's what was weird about Jake Elliott's season.
Dynasty killers.
He was very good in the playoffs historically. And then he had such an off year.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh God, is he going to cost him a game in the playoffs?
Playoffs. Dude. I mean, so if you are the Kansas City Chiefs, right? We have to see, obviously.
Tear it all down. You got to rebuild Kansas City. Time to move on from your quarterback.
Oh boy.
Your coach is washed. Kelsey's old. Time to move on. Got to rebuild. So what are you going to say?
Anyway, so whenever they get Rashee Rice back at some point, and having Worthy there, they have to go get a left tackle. Like they're going to have to go and address offensive line. I think the pieces are there. And the defense is still pretty damn good. I think ultimately they're not too far away. And, Mahomes will be hanging around. I'm sure Andy Reid will too. Who knows what happens with Travis Kelce. But besides a few times in the playoffs, I don't know if you need Travis Kelce as much as you do. Obviously, a different style of play at this point in his career.
You got Noah Gray. 50 Shades of Noah Gray.
You got Watson. I feel like they're going to be right back in this. But, dude, even to be competing for a three-peat is pretty damn impressive. Yeah. It's just, but that's what makes this Eagles win. Like that's the agenda today for me. Like Eagles just deserve so much praise for that. They got so much crap, especially during this season and heading into the Super Bowl. Again, myself included, going better team on paper, but I don't know if they're going to be able to overcome Mahomes. And
I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be able to overcome Mahomes.
Hey, they took care of business.
They got a quarterback problem in Kansas City. I'll tell you what. The one thing the Eagles offensive line did very well is pass protection. The Chiefs sold out to stop the run. Mm-hmm. The Eagles couldn't get their normal push on run plays.
Yep.
But in pass protection, I think that I remember like 2 plays. And they had 1 sack negated because Kansas City was offsides. But like Jalen Hurts had time to throw every single play.
Yeah.
And the only time that pressure got there is when Hurts was holding on to the ball and he kind of extended the play to make a play. So I think I'm sorry, just watching highlights. I got distracted. Their line, solid in pass pro. Very solid.
Everywhere there was.
And the Chiefs, I felt like one story this year for Kansas City fans was they wanted another playmaker as like an edge rusher. They're like, should we add an edge rusher? And I think the Chiefs fans who are, worried about that through the season, they saw like, okay, we've got Chris Jones, who's really disruptive. George Karlaftis had a great postseason. He was generating those pressures, but they couldn't get it in this game. And that was another like huge contributing factor to their historically bad loss. Welcome to the club, Kansas City. Doesn't feel good, does it? Does it? I know Seahawks fans will continue to remind me of Super Bowl 48, but I think Chiefs fans, before they come in and type, ha, 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 remember that Super Bowl? They're going to be like, ooh, actually, I know what that feels like now. I know what it feels like. I'm not going to rub it in your face, Perna. I'm going to hold off on this one.
After they won back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yeah. I mean, blowout. I mean, the Broncos won a Super Bowl after that, and we won 2 before. I'll take one Super Bowl blowout in between 3 Super Bowl victories. Just Chiefs had their blowout after.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I don't know, man. It's the Eagles too, like going forward, depending on who they bring in, and who they wind up keeping in free agency. Like they had to go get, re-sign Bond and stuff like that. They're in a division where the Cowboys, who knows?
They're a wild card.
Jordan Love is just being like, hey, Micah Parsons, come on over to Green Bay. The Giants need God or some kind of deity. And then
Commanders going to be their biggest comp.
Yeah, then you have their Commanders who are up there, right? And they're an emerging team. But the Eagles, as we've been talking about this whole post, like they were built to win in the playoffs. They were built to win. Great defense, great run game. You take away that run game, which they still had to account for, you still have the game that you saw last night. So, hells to the yeah. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. Very well earned, very well deserved. Go crazy, you sons of guns.
Go crazy.
Oh, yeah. Scooter saying it was going to be a blowout and it was going to be the Eagles getting blown out. Oh, man. Talk about a take that did not age well. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Dude, I think the funniest Scooter comment I got last night was Scooter's probably still going to be saying the Eagles are fraudulent on clickbait on Thursday. And I was like, you know what? I think you're right. Scooter could come in Thursday and be like, the Eagles are the most fraudulent Super Bowl winners in a dominant Super Bowl victory we've ever seen.
They didn't even score 50.
Yeah. He's like, what did they actually do in that game?
Yeah. And good.
Let's see here.
I
think one of the more underrated moves from Philly this offseason too was
there you go.
Signing Mekhi Becton.
Ooh. The Jets keep on losing.
Right? So we talk about Saquon. Leaves the Giants. Mekhi Becton was also in New York with the Jets. Did not work out as a tackle. But I think this is what separates like really good general managers and personnel, where they go out, they bring in Becton, like we have our tackles covered. They move him to guard, and he was a pretty damn good guard all season for the Eagles. We've never even really, I don't think we ever talked about Mekhi Becton. No. Because like we don't talk about guards. Nobody's like, you know what? Let's look up the guard stats for the day.
And Becton had the build, right? But like issues in injuries, health, like it was tough.
He was at tackle, but like seeing that there's talent there and saying, look, if we put him at guard, then our offensive line's really good. We're gonna have a hole with Jason Kelce leaving, but it's like you got to be creative. You got to go out and get players like that. And sometimes you got to move them around to kind of fit what you do. And, Mekhi Becton, top 20, top 15 performances this year as a guard. That's a solid piece. So I think it's doing those little things. That's what makes you into a team that can go in and, win the Super Bowl. And I'll be curious to see how the Chiefs address some of their issues. You've got Buffalo, who we felt like was close. That where they need a piece or two. You've got interesting free agents that are popping up like every day. Started with Myles Garrett, then Cooper Kupp's going to be available, then Deebo Samuel's going to be available, and then Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are divorcing. We haven't talked about that.
Yeah. So, because that came out. So, yeah. So, here's the thing, too. Cooper Kupp, I feel the same exact way, like how I felt with the health and the performance this year. I'm not. Same exact thing with Debo, man. Holy crap. Debo Samuel was awful this year. He was not good. He could not catch a ball to save his life. So, could do very well on another team. I'm okay with not giving up a ton for Debo Samuel. But yes, the big news, and it's not like the most surprising news. Good.
That's the point I'm just making, right? Where you see these guys that are underperforming, but you're like, are they underperforming because they're actually bad or not good? Kupp's had injury problems. Debo's always kind of had injury issues, but it's like, if we put that guy on our roster, and it's hard with Debo and Kupp because they're playing for two very good head coaches, offensive-minded coaches, and the question there is like, are they not performing? How are they not performing in those offenses, right?
Sure.
Versus Mekhi Becton, like the dude was on the fucking Jets. Like, let's give him another chance. So while we look at those guys, and I agree with you, like Debo's kind of like the Joker player that Sean Payton was gushing about the Broncos needing, but is that Debo 3 years ago versus what Debo can be the next 2 years? Like that's where you've got to have really, really good football personnel eyes. And I don't know. Like I think Cooper Kupp could go to somewhere like Kansas City or Buffalo and be like, okay, yeah, he can still make plays when needed. But anyway,
I hear you. I mean, again, it's just.
But yeah, what are you going to give up for those guys?
Yeah,
because they're trade. You have to give up an asset. It's not a free agent. Same with Myles Garrett.
Correct.
Rodgers will be a free agent though, Tom. Your man.
Yeah. So again, not the most surprising thing because like there were talks about, I mean, Rex Ryan right before when he was in the hiring process was just like, oh, I'm kicking him out, blah, blah, blah. No one wanted Rex Ryan. So I think for Aaron Glenn to go in there, I think it's the right move. The only thing I was talking about keeping Aaron Rodgers, but there he has that contract, keeping Aaron Rodgers to make him that bridge quarterback. Like there's a lot worse folks that you could have than Aaron Rodgers, but it's definitely a turning of the page for Jersey. And you just hope that Aaron Glenn is the guy that's going to guide them into the future there. But for Rodgers, now the question is, because folks are talking about him wanting to play next year, where does he go? The Steelers have been, there's some rumors there, which I think there could be some fire there where there's smoke because Aaron Rodgers throughout his entire career has talked about how much he loves Mike Tomlin. Like he gushes over Mike Tomlin as a coach. So I would not find surprise there. A lot of folks saying the prophecy needs to be fulfilled and he goes to the Minnesota Vikings, which at this point I would just laugh.
Yeah,
I would. I would laugh.
I feel like
it would hurt a little bit, but Brett Favre went there. You know what I mean? Like that was my childhood got ripped out and you guys threw an interception in the NFC Championship game. So, I survived that. I could survive this.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers probably today is calling Kevin O'Connell and just like, should we? I don't even care if I start, dude. Should we just do it?
Just do it.
Like Aaron Rodgers does that. I think he still has that level of sense of humor in him. It is hidden behind his third eye, but it is still there. I think he would do it. I think he would do a troll move for his final year. I really do. I like the Steelers because then the Vikings is hilarious, obviously, for Packers fans, but
it's great.
The Steelers, for me, as somebody who wanted Aaron Rodgers when we learned he might be on the move, and then getting Russell Wilson and that not working out, and then seeing Aaron Rodgers not work out somewhere else, to have Rodgers go to where Russell Wilson just was, to get our final, stamp on that whole timeline of the Broncos needing a quarterback, me really thinking we could maybe get Rodgers, then settling for Russell Wilson. I think Rodgers might be okay with the Steelers. Maybe.
I think he'd be okay.
In his game right now. He's old. He's not as effective as he was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he likes Tomlin because Tomlin is a player's coach. I think Rodgers got to go to a place where he has less control, less say.
Sure. I mean, it'd be an interesting move. I don't think Steelers fans would be the happy. I think, oh man, would you rather have Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers this year? I feel like
Rodgers, probably.
Rodgers, right? I feel like Rodgers edges him out there. So
maybe. I think the question for Steelers fans is, would you rather have Justin Fields or Aaron Rodgers for this year? There's still a little bit of like untapped ceiling on Justin Fields. And he knows the system. And there's also like some stuff, I don't know if it's been substantiated, but like Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson not being on the same page, to put it politely, this year.
What do you mean? Their offense looked great.
Yeah. It's like at some point you just have to recognize like it's a Russell Wilson thing. It's literally the last like 5 years, it's always been an issue with Russ and the play caller. You know? And if there's like truth to him and Arthur Smith not getting along because of that, then you know why. You know why now.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like, how underwhelming is this free agent outside of Sam Darnold, who I think will be available to sign somewhere? You've got Rodgers, you've got Kirk Cousins, possibly, you've got Russell Wilson, and you've got Justin Fields. All the same names who like 2 years ago were like, this is exciting. These are big names. Kirk Cousins last year going to the Falcons, we're like, that's a big, really nice move if he can be healthy. Now it's guys who were good, and desperate teams might make a play for one of those quarterbacks, and I don't know who it'll be. But
well, it's interesting because we talk about Aaron Rodgers, then you have to talk about Devontae Adams, right? Because Devontae Adams, who went to Jersey, you know, being like, okay, and now there's going to be no Aaron Rodgers, it's likely Devontae Adams is going to be on the move. Yeah. And he's talking about wanting to play for a West Coast offense again, so I don't think he's going to be going back to the Green Bay Packers. But talk about a team that could use him. It's in your division. I mean, you guys could use Devontae Adams, $1 million. But the Chargers would be a phenomenal landing spot for Devontae Adams. So it's going to be interesting to see, as the Jets collapse again and try to rebuild from the ashes, where are these guys going to go? What kind of capital, if anything, are the Jets going to get? That's going to be the interesting one as we head forward into this offseason. And someone mentioned also, appreciate you, Nicholas. Someone also mentioned like the Chiefs having some free agents too. Like I as long as Andy Reid and Mahomes are there and Spags are there too, like I think that they still have a core that they can win a lot of games with. And even if you want to talk about their offensive woes and talk about their left tackle issues, they still were able to make it to the Super Bowl, right? So, yeah,
they'll be worse next year. They'll be worse. They're not going to be 15-2 next year.
As I've been saying all year, you don't want the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Hey, AFC, do something. Do something.
Oh, the Bengals will be better. The Broncos will be better. The Chargers will be better. Their road is going to be tougher next year.
We'll see.
I said the most hilarious thing I could imagine would be Rodgers going to the Raiders and Devontae Adams following him back to the Raiders. I said that would be hilarious. I tweeted that. And of course, somebody's like, seriously? You think that could happen? No, I don't think that could happen. That's why I said this would be hilarious. I didn't say this would be a great move for the Raiders to consider, but fuck, that would be funny.
Oh, it'd be very funny.
The curse wheel, undefeated in the postseason, Tom. People question its power. And then it got every single game right, including the Super Bowl. All hail curse wheel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, send Saquon to Denver, dude. We will take him off your hands, Philly.
Who is down worse today? The Dallas Cowboys, or is it the New Jersey Giants?
Ooh.
Because, like, Giants fans can hold on to, like, hey, at least Saquon won a ring, right? Like, it's exciting. Yes, it was with the Philadelphia Eagles, which is not great.
I don't know. I had a good amount of Cowboys fans and Giants fans saying they were actually rooting for the Eagles because they're so annoyed by the Chiefs. Like, that's the level of Chiefs dominance we've had to endure, is that even division rivals are rooting for their rival to beat you, Kansas City. Like, I don't think you see that very often. There's a fair amount of Cowboys fans like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going for the Birds. I love it. And there was a lot of cool Chiefs fans. They're like, you know what? This sucks.
Yeah.
But we are grateful because this was our third Super Bowl appearance.
Literally, you could have won a three-peat. Like, and everybody was talking about, like, oh God, like this is gonna happen. Also, you know how everybody and their mother was like, who was pushing the, hey, the NFL's rigged, and like, oh, the Chiefs going to win 3-peat. Travis Kelce's going to propose to Taylor Swift after that, then retire and sail off into the sunset.
I mean, it was rigged in the AFC for the Chiefs to get there.
Oh, good God. I can't
Dude,
do
the
it.
Chiefs rigged their whole way.
But the real conspiracy,
They just ran into Howie Roseman, who bankrolled the officials. He bankrolled the Eagles defense. You know, I said it's not rigged anymore because the team that we wanted to win won.
and
That's
that
all it
sums
is.
it up.
If the team that you're rooting for wins, it's not rigged. It's a fair game. The NFL is the most fair league I've ever watched because the Eagles won.
No problems. You know what? Maybe
None.
officiating's not even that bad. Maybe.
Yeah, I like the officials. I'm changing my coffee from F the refs to love the refs. Love them. Love on those refs. They need a little love. I still can't. Beings last night happened. I can't either.
I can't. I don't think there's a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans at Beings last night. There was some Adams to the Chargers.
Yeah.
There was some partying going on, and well earned, and well effing earned. But good.
Yesterday in the chat, Aaron said the only thing Travis Kelce's getting after this game is a dry, sad hand job. And for the first time, I actually like thought about it.
You thought about a dry hand job
with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Like, I've never thought about. I've never like put the image in my head, and Aaron inserted it, and I've thought about it a couple times because it's funny to me. It's funny to me to think that could happen. No, it's funny to think that it could happen. I know it's not something I usually talk about, Tom. I'm not saying it's something we should talk about, but once I heard it, once I thought about it,
it's true, Jay.
Two of the giant superstar, an all-time NFL legend, receiving a dry, sad hand job. It's funny to me, Tom.
I love how you're like, I've been thinking about it too. Like ever since I've just been thinking about it a bunch.
Laugh. I'm like, I mean that's a real world problem, you know? Travis Kelce could be dealing with a real world problem. I don't know.
Worth it, AJ. So
it was funny. I tried to be respectful of people's private lives.
Sure.
You know?
I can tell.
But when I heard that, I said, shit. I'm never gonna not be able to think about that. That was a super chat. Aaron put it into my brain last night, and now it'll never leave.
Yeah, back again. This is the most first world problems ever. And still, obviously, Chiefs fans are going to be super disappointed, trying to make some kind of history, Packers.
This is nice. 2 years. Like, if they're back next year, I'm going to be pretty annoyed.
Oh, that's what I wanted to mention. I wanted to make it all about me. The Green Bay Packers, they held the Philadelphia Eagles to the lowest points that they scored all postseason, all the turnovers that Jordan Love threw. Guess what? Vindication again. We're going to be back next year. But I'm pretty damn optimistic about the Packers. I feel pretty good, especially after what we see. Lost to the champs. No moral victories, but...
Didn't Jordan Love say he tried to come back from that knee injury too soon? Had caused other issues throughout the year.
Yeah, but no one complains in the NFL. Like, no one's ever 100% in the NFL.
No, but...
That's what he said.
That's why he didn't look right. Pulled his groin because his knee wasn't ready.
I'm excited. Nah, man, it's a lot of I have optimism heading into the offseason. You have optimism heading into the offseason, right? Yeah. Chiefs defeated, made the playoffs this year. There's an opening. Maybe. If the Chiefs wind up just winning the division again, then I'm just going to yell at you again because that's the AFC West fault. But
we're going to stop them. Seeing Kenny Pickett, throw a pass in the Super Bowl was very fun.
Yep.
It was an incomplete pass. It wasn't a good pass, but seeing Kenny Pickett out there, I don't know why the Eagles don't rock with McKee, the dude behind Pickett, who is inactive. I think that's the backup of their future. But
also, just wanted to do a big shout out to Johnny Rockford for designing a much better score bug than whatever the hell Fox had on their Super Bowl broadcast last night.
Oh,
that was ugly.
I didn't mind it. I like the minimalism.
Minimalist is good. It's fine.
But it
was uninspired. Blech. Ugh.
We never brought in Rockford's new intro. He made us either.
Oh yeah, it happened a while ago, didn't it?
Yeah, I think before the season we had a new intro, and we've never inserted it into StreamYard.
That sounds like something we would
You
do.
got it somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere. Yeah, I think I might have shared. I don't even remember. Hey, Dak Prescott.
Garbage time.
Garbage
Dude,
time.
Xavier Worthy, great garbage time performance.
If I'm a Chiefs fan, he excites me. Xavier Worthy, like as a rookie, took a little while to like find out, kind of what player he was and kind of to grow into the role. But he's a speedster, and like they utilized him all over the field. Like I think that he could be a fun addition as they try to kind of build back that offense.
I just hope, when Rice comes back, he's suspended for the second half of the season when the Chiefs need him the most. Because he's probably going to be suspended for the race car driving on the highway.
Probably.
Leaving the scene.
Most likely. Short. I mean, again, I heard someone said in the comments that they said that they couldn't find Kevin Hart, but I'm happy to muted, so.
Mahomes gets nervous when Brady's in the building. We know that. We know Mahomes gets nervous.
Eagles, Super Bowl champs, Super Bowl 60
Go
next
Bird.
year. Let's get it.
Go Bird.
That's what I'm saying. AKK, it's just meh. It didn't. I love minimalist stuff. Oh, it's like super clean. It's just for me, it didn't work. It didn't hit for me.
I don't give a fuck about the scoreboard, the score bug. I think it's I don't care at all. It's a talking point every year. I could care less what the stupid thing looks like. I don't think about it. I don't think about it during the game. Why does everybody care about it so much? I don't know. It's a thing. Maybe I'm the dumb one. I don't know.
It's a team sport. So it's not about Lamar figuring out how to win big. It's a team sport. So, I mean, that's it. It's tough to win a Super Bowl. It is tough to win a Super Bowl. And the Chiefs, they've done it pretty often. Couldn't get it done last night. So, Perna, what do you got coming out today, my friend?
Winners, the real winners and losers of Super Bowl 59, the greatest award show known to man. What do you got, Tom? Scripted? Is that today?
Not true. I'm not taking time off. But today I'm going to do every NFL fan's reaction to Super Bowl 59. I'm going to start working on scripted. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it done today. So at the very latest, it'll come out tomorrow. We'll be scripted. And then we'll rock. Are we doing a show Wednesday, or we'll kind of play it by ear? We'll be back on Friday. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. We're rock.
See what happens Wednesday.
We'll find our way back. We'll find a way. We appreciate you folks tuning in another year, another season of GPS. Also, I'm going to promote it every single second this week. Next Sunday, February 16th, I will be streaming, aiming for 5 p.m. Eastern. I'll lock that in by Wednesday. I'm streaming until we hit either 1 million subscribers or raise $1 million for Children of Fallen Patriots. Phenomenal org. We're going to rock. We're going to roll. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. That's right, KK. That's right. You let him know.
Designers should care. Sure.
You let him know.
But design, a lot of it's subjective.
Sometimes there's luck in the NFL, and sometimes you just get your ass kicked. And last night, the Chiefs got their ass kicked. You can't block in the trenches. It's gonna be a long day. It was a long day for the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's it. But folks, we appreciate the hell out of you. We'll see you soon. Winners and losers coming out for Perna. Every NFL fan's reaction to Super Bowl 59 coming out for me. We'll see you next time. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS, and you have been navigated.
And you reached your wee destination.
Did you put on the hat and become Scottish?